Ryan, good to see you. Today, we are talking through 5 signs your advisor is doing real financial planning. A lot of financial planners claim to offer comprehensive planning, but there are a few obvious signs to determine if your advisor is really working for you. First, is your advisor helping you define your goals and objectives?
Yeah, and this is so important because retirement is not just a number. You might remember these old ING commercials. You see this big number on the screen. It's,
Yep.
oh, I have that, and that means I get to retire, right?
Mhm.
It's so much beyond that. It's defining what do you want your retirement to look like. What are you going to be doing on a day-to-day basis? That's really the starting point to address those types of things. Because once you do that, then you can figure out, okay, how much do I need? And then how do I create an income plan around the different assets and income sources that I have available to me?
Right. That makes perfect sense. All right. Number two, a real financial planner will gather details on your assets, liabilities, income, and expenses.
Yeah, for sure. If you ever get in a situation where somebody says, "Hey, I've got this great investment or this or that," and you're 15 minutes into actually talking together, you know that is a concern. That
Right.
this is not going to be a real financial planning type experience. A financial planning experience is a process, and it takes some time because you're going to need to address those things: the
Hmm.
income, the assets, everything. You need to understand what the big picture is so that then you can understand, okay, we have the different pieces of the puzzle. How are we going to put this together in order to make a successful income plan and to have a successful retirement?
Right. So much more than investments. Number three, a good financial planner will help you determine how to optimize Social Security. This is such an important decision.
It's so important, and it unfortunately too often I will hear somebody say something like, "Well, my financial planner doesn't help with Social Security," and I can understand that if they're an advisor that focuses in with the accumulation phase, or with younger folks with college education planning, or maybe working at companies setting up 401ks, but it's such a key benefit if you're focused in on working to create a retirement plan for yourself to provide the income that you need for the rest of your life. People are often surprised to find out that depending if you're single, married, what your earnings history looks like, you could very well receive anywhere from 1 million up to $2 million over the course of your lifetime
Right.
from Social Security. And then
Mhm.
it's taxed differently, and you need to understand how to incorporate that with other income, so you're paying the least in taxes that you have to pay on that very important benefit.
I'm glad you brought up taxes because that, of course, is next. One sure sign your planner means business. That planner is going to incorporate proactive tax planning.
Yeah. So, what steps are you taking now in order to help reduce the amount of taxes that you have to pay in the future? So that's
Right.
what we mean by proactive tax planning. Are we looking at possibly doing Roth IRA conversions? This is something that you should be looking at least once a year to see if it might make sense. Just as an example, are you creating an income distribution strategy that is thoughtfully thinking about where all your different assets are, how are they going to be taxed, how much are you going to withdraw from which account, and when? For a lot of folks that transition into retirement, they find this to be such an eye opener, because for many people, when you're working, your sole source of income is coming from your paycheck. And it makes it a lot simpler. Perhaps you're W-2'd, unless you're self-employed, it's different. But you're getting your income, and it is what it is. In retirement, you have maybe an IRA and a 401k, which is going to be taxed one way. Maybe you have a Roth or a Roth 401k. Maybe you have dividends and capital gains, or you could have all these different things. And Social Security is also the way that's going to be, if that's going to be subject to tax, that's a whole different calculation. So it's important to understand how all these things work.
Right. And you can see how all the puzzle pieces fit together. Also, estate planning and financial planning, they of course go hand in hand. A good advisor will address any estate planning questions.
Yeah, this can't be overlooked either. I
Right.
mean, this is so important to make sure that possible future messes, for lack of a better word, are taken care of. And it starts with just making sure that the necessary documents are in place.
Right.
And you could see them right here. I mean, there's several different important documents that you have to have in line, and they need to be updated on a regular basis to make sure that it's in line with what your wishes are. I've also seen far too many situations where you have an ex-spouse now listed on an old IRA account or
Right.
insurance policy was never updated. And even beyond that, it's other things. What if you need extended health care? How are you going to make those decisions, right? That's the advanced healthcare powers. But it's all of that.
Mhm.
One of the other big mistakes too I see with married folks is oftentimes they're planning. Okay, let's say that we live well into our 90s. Are we going to be okay for retirement? And maybe based upon the income plan they are, but then oftentimes they don't look at what would happen if one spouse were to pass away real
Mm,
early in retirement. Now you lost the Social Security check. Now that surviving spouse has to file as a single person. Now what's the strength of that retirement plan? So estate planning is all those things. You can't just look at one thing in a vacuum. All
of
this needs
course.
to be looked at and incorporated together
Right,
to have a
right.
successful retirement plan.
Mhm. Ryan, though, I think a lot of people will watch this video and realize that they are probably not getting the planning they were hoping for from their current advisor. So if somebody wants to talk through these, topics with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Could call 714-462-9155, or could go to the website at kravitzfinancial.com. Go to the contact page there and submit a message.
Great. Ryan, thank you.
Thank you.